I know I've said this before, but it really is remarkable how fast 2026 stuff is hitting us. I mean, Case B here, not only do we have it to unbox, but it is hitting stores across the world. I actually found it at my local Target store just a couple miles from my house before this box showed up at my doorstep. It's pretty crazy. Have to give Mattel credit for the distribution, at least, not even 2026 so far, but 2025 was really good. Let me know your thoughts on it. If you've been able to find cars easier over the last year and a half than 2023, 2022, which I thought was a little bit more difficult. And yeah, here we have Case B of 2026 singles to unbox from GetMeCollecitlbes. If you're interested in getting your own sealed case, you can email him using the description below. I have his email and link to his eBay store where he uploads all of these cars individually and then sometimes the full cases as well. But just email him, get on his email list so you get all of the news. Now, before we dig in, I want to identify a change they made here to the title of the main line, at least on the case boxes. Disney and Pixar Cars Core Diecast Assortment. So it never said core before. That is a new term that they're basically using to describe the main line. Not a big deal, obviously, but I did want to point that out. This is the full 24 count case made in China, not Thailand anymore. And that B right there means the exact, it indicates the exact 24 cars in this case. 95F basically just means 2026. So without any further ado, let's dig our way into what may be one of the worst cases. I don't know. I don't like saying that before we even open the box. Like at the beginning of the video, I want to establish some sort of mystique and excitement with these cases, but we do have to acknowledge, while the distribution's great, man, the offerings that are being distributed, not so great. But I'll let you guys make that determination in the comments below how you think 2026 is going so far. And off the jump here, we have a couple new to 2026 cards. Not new to Red Riders. These both have been done on the Red Riders packaging in the past, but they were not in 2025, and they are back here for 2026. And that first one here is Fabulous Lightning McQueen. Now, these are all technically variants because they're now made in China. So they're not the same as the original Chinese versions of Fabulous McQueen, and we'll get to Todd Marcus here. They're not the same as the Thailand variants that came out between 2018 and 2025, but they're a lot more similar to those than they are the original Chinese releases. So I will be doing some reviews on select releases where it makes sense to do them, like Richie Gunzit up there, and maybe even Speedy Comet, maybe some of these other ones as well. But you guys have seen my Transforming McQueen video, Chris Roman. Those are the ones, major releases like that, I will do a variant review of, but it just gets so crazy and the differences aren't anything too major that warrants a whole video about it for a lot of these. But on the back, it does say as seen in Cars 3, and they got it right. All these do appear in Cars 3. Well, technically, Hot Rod Smokey over here doesn't, which is crazy because Hot Rod Jr., Moon, Louise Nash, and River Scott do. But Smokey actually isn't in that shot. It's pretty wild, so he's just something that Mattel kind of devised out of thin air. But you do have Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson, Hornet, Dinoco, Cruz, Speedy Comet, Richie Gunzit. I believe everyone is either in case A or this case that we are unboxing here. So after taking a 1-year hiatus, Todd Marcus is back for 2026. So yeah, we've seen this. I mean, same thing with Fabulous McQueen. When I say Red Riders, it even includes the red behind the blister, because we all know when Red Riders started out in 2022 and the first bit of 2023, they had white behind the blister. It was kind of a different aesthetic, but same, from the basically name and up, and then they started just making it all red. And so that just goes to show how recently both Todd Marcus and Fabulous McQueen have been released. Now this guy's eyes do look a little different, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's anything too major from the Thailand variant to go crazy about. as seen in Cars 1. And again, they get them all right here. That's a big win. You have Brad Winmiler, hauling gas, Dexter Hoover with checkered flag, the King, Ralph Carlow, and Marlon clutches McKay. I think all of them are actually in Case B here. So that's pretty timely. Have to applaud Mattel for giving us an accurate representation of the cars that we might also find at the store if we're holding Todd Marcus. Here we have Francesco Bernoulli, who's also back after a little bit of a hiatus. I really like how he looks on Red Riders. He fills up the whole car with his length. Just looks really good. I'm not a big fan, though, that they have the motion blur on his tires. It doesn't make much sense. They don't do that for anyone else. Is that something they've always done with Francesco? I don't know. It's a little weird to me. Now, he also looks actually... He's one of the more significant variants. I'm just going to come out and say it. He's got a nice black outline around the eyes there. And people have been really praising this version of Francesco. Not really sure why. Like, what makes this one so much better than the Thailand variant? Maybe it's the colors. I think it might have to do with the vibrancy of the colors. So I might have to look further into that. The back, nothing too exciting as seen in Cars 2. Just Cars 2 McQueen and Francesco there. Kind of some weird creasing on this Francesco. Never really see a crease up there. Here we have Marlon clutches McKay. So probably one of the highlights of the case. And yeah, that's not really saying much when it's a car that's been released before many times, although not since 2019. And him and Richie Gunzit were actually in the same case together that year. So, I don't know, it feels a little coincidental that they're back together again. But yeah, so this is a new variant. Again, I'm going to say that about everybody. But he was released from Thailand, so he probably is very similar to that Thailand variant from 2018. Guys, I am a little under the weather, so if my voice sounds strange or out of tune, that's why. And on the back, you have the exact same set of cars, except Todd Marcus is swapped out for Marlon clutches McKay. Very good, Mattel. All right. Couple Case A carryovers here. We have Lightning McQueen with racing wheels. The Cars 2 version. Never understood why they don't just call him World Grand Prix Lightning McQueen. There are so many McQueens hanging around the pegs right now that I think this one would sell, but he's kind of blending into the background of all the Rust-eze and Road Trip McQueens. But yeah, this guy has not been released in over a year. He was not a part of the 2025 main line, so I do think, yeah, people will pay a little bit more attention to him. Here we have Race and Rescue Red, who went from one of the rarer releases to now kind of common, which is crazy to say, but he debuted in Case W of 2025, and that was his only case of 2025. But now he's been in the first two cases of 2026, A and B. So yeah, I've actually found quite a few of him, even though I really thought, he was going to end up being one of the rare releases. But when he comes back in a big way the following year, then kind of dilutes that. It is obviously a new packaging, though. It doesn't say new for 2025. And the back features different characters. So you have Cruz, McQueen, Chick, Jackson, Luigi, and Guido. Nice, not too bad. I think people are still going to buy him up, though, because it's red, obviously. Here we have Mater again, so he's back after being in the last case. Very heavy, one of the heavier cars you'll find in the main line these days. He does have the working tow hook. I wish they did more cars that he could interact with, like just randomly, I don't know, Todd Marcus, or just do something fun with the tractor and the 2-pack that he's in, because he could really only use his hook with Lightning McQueens. You have McQueen, Flo, Sarge, Marilyn, Sheriff, and Sally, all of whom were in Case A. Here's one that is new to Case B. Now, it's very unfortunate that they messed up the name on this guy, because it's not Heyday Smokey. In fact, it is Hot Rod Smokey. Hence the flames. Heyday Smokey, albeit similar color, has different decals, and actually appears in the movie. And Heyday Smokey was released a lot more recently than Hot Rod Smokey. I think Hot Rod's release was 2021. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Hot Rod Smokey's ever been released on the Red Riders packaging. Same thing with Marlon Clutch's McKay. And on the back, you do have an accurate assortment of other Cars 3 characters. So that'll be another highlight of the case. Here we have Ralph Carlow, the Lil Torquey Pistons racer from Cars 1 back. Now, this is his first time with the red behind the blister. So when he first came out in Red Riders, it was 2022, so it had white behind the blister. So we do need to take note of that. And again, just kind of goes to show we don't have much to really talk about. There is not much to get excited about if we're talking about such minor differences like that. He looks fine. Ooh, a little mix here. Sheriff and Marlon jump into this. That's kind of cool. I like that. I don't think either of them are in this case, though. I could be wrong. Here we have another Piston Cup racer, Hall and Gas. The Retread racer. He's been released multiple times on Red Riders. I don't understand why they don't go back to like Slider Petrowski, Dirksen D'Agostino. Some of the Piston Cup racers from Cars 1 that haven't done in a while. And I mean, that's still like only 5-6 years ago, but they are really keeping it like close-knit, like not going back before 2021. A couple of these, 2018, but really nothing. Like there's only a handful of releases in the 2026 main line outside of like Myco 7 Flash Memo that had not been released before 2020. Like go and find some. It's like Marlon, Richie, Maryland. There are not many though at all. And here we have Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet, another character, another variant that was not in 2025's main line, but was in the prior main line of 2024. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. It's like they'll do either Doc Hudson regularly or they'll do this Dirt Track Fabulous Hudson Hornet version. Here we have Brad Winmiler, another so-called highlight of the case. He was released in 2022 on Red Riders, so he had the white background like Ralph. I've always liked this character, or this release. Like, he's a really unique race fan with the green Piston Cup antenna. Something you don't really see all too often. The original prototype of him, if you remember, back to 2016 or whatever, I think it was 2015 or 16, where he didn't even have the green antenna. It was just the Piston Cup hat, which I would have been fine with that too. Here's the card back. True highlight of the case is, of course, this smooth, glossy cardboard flap. Man, the things I would do with this cardboard flap. Wow. Set that off to the side for later. Next up, we have Race and Rescue Sarge. His first appearance in 2026 after being in a couple 2025 cases. So he doesn't have the new for 2025 logo up there anymore. We'll take a look at the card back here in a second. Looks like those black lines around his eyes are a little bit more defined than they were. Yeah, actually, I can show you guys. Yeah, they definitely are more defined. This is the Thailand variant compared to the Chinese one. Yep. So you're going to notice little differences like that between Thailand and this new China, but nothing that's going to blow you away. Here we have another of Lightning McQueen with racing wheels. It's kind of weird that they were spread out in the box there. All right. Transforming McQueen is back after debuting in case A. This will be one of the more popular releases, at least early on, until they start including him in every other case, which is possible. I did a variant review of him, and yeah, he's actually pretty nice. Except for the missing decal in the back, but that's been a problem for over a decade. And his card back obviously just shows stuff from case A because it's just a carryover. And same thing here with the second Mater. So that's 2 cases in a row where you've gotten 2 Maters, which is surprising to me because he's heavier. You know, he takes up more room in the box. To put 2 Maters in back-to-back cases is something I don't think they've ever done before. Fair enough. All right. Well, here we have 2 more. Another double. Strip Weathers, a.k.a. the King. I feel like they changed up the translations here with this alias. I feel like they didn't used to say that before. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But the King is back here. He was in 2025, so nothing too crazy, but he always sells well. Richard Petty, based on a real model and all that stuff. All the NASCAR tie-ins. And on the back, you have a nice mix of case A and B stuff. Would love for one of these to be an air, like a No Eyes the King. Would love that. But I feel like there have not been as many airs since 2025 began, and definitely not as many No Eyes airs. Here we have Sally, who also is carried over. We talked about her in the Case A video, where she is a variant that is a lot more akin to the 5-pack version of her that they've done, and less akin to the recent Thailand single versions, if you know what I mean. And it's an improvement for sure. So I'll probably review her at some point, just to document that difference. But it's going to be hard for people to really notice it, since there's usually when I go to the store, there's 1 or 2 of the 2026 Sallys, and then there's 7 of the 2025 Sallys. Here we have Radiator Springs Lightning McQueen. So he was released in, I think it was 2024, and he got his first Thailand variant then, and now he is back. Oh my gosh. I mean, it looks nice. It's a cool variant of McQueen for sure, but again, it's nothing you're going to just go crazy about. Nothing you're going to lose your minds. I find it weird that this variant never appears on the back of any card backs, though. It's like they don't have the stock image for him or something. And they included 2 of him in the case, which I am fine with. Big black bar above his windshield there. It's like the eyes are kind of sunken. All right. Moving right along here. We'll save you for last. Dinoco Cruz Ramirez is back again after a little bit of a hiatus. And with this new China variant, she has lost her metallic blue decals, and they have reverted back to how she looked when she was first released in 2017 with just kind of a flat blue. And yeah, they stayed consistent. The wheels are the flat blue as well. I mean, she looks fine, but more accurately, she should have the metallic decals. But I'm just glad that they're doing this version instead of the Rust-eze version again, because that one was really grating upon my nerves. And it kind of coincides with Fabulous McQueen. Here we have Dexter Hoover with checkered flags. Last year they did the green flag version, and this year they're doing the checkered version, which both have been released recently. Even before their last releases here. I don't know why they choose not to do the yellow flag version. That would be somewhat cool. It still wouldn't be anything that I would lose my mind about, but it would be something different. And on the back, you get kind of the same stuff. And last but not least, the highlights of the case that I'm surprised I only put one of is Richie Gunzit. His first release since 2018. Thailand. Now, he was canceled, or I don't know if you want to consider a cancellation or just a postponement. He was going to come out from China, so there are a couple prototypes, which is why my review of him is going to be pretty cool, because I'll be able to compare this new China version to the Chinese prototype, and then also the Thailand release from 2018 here. So stay tuned for that within the next couple days. But yeah, I mean, he looks fine. His first appearance on Red Riders. He does kind of feel like him and Chris Roman are cut from the same cloth, you know, not released since well, I mean, they're part of the same main line. Chris Roman just came out in like August of 2018, and Richie came out in like April of 2019. So guys, let me know in the comment section below, who from this case will you be collecting? Anyone you're really on the lookout for? Is just kind of like a meh case for you like it is for me? I mean, I think case A was better. Had a lot more interesting inclusions and some nice race and rescue carryovers. So I would say, yeah, I mean, the highlights from this case are, that's not great, guys. Hot Rod Smokey, who they mislabeled, of course. Brad Winmiler, who, you know, was just released like 3-4 years ago. And yeah, Marlon clutches McKay. I'm not even going to include any of the Cars 1 Piston Cut racers because all of them, you know, were released very recently. So that's just kind of the state of the Cars line that we're in. Just kind of the era that we are living and breathing in is what it is, guys. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What the hell else do I have to say besides, what are we doing, Mattel? Come on, can we get a new release, please? Sorry. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Got these feelings.